Greeting Coach Martinez and my fellow classmates. I'm Edelweiss A. Enriquez and my role in this video presentation is to give the overall introduction. Today, we are presenting the 14 learner-centered psychological principles, its background and contribution to the learner-centered learning approaches. We are the study hub number 5. To begin, let's start from what is learner-centered psychological principles. The principles are organized into 5 areas of cognitive and learning motivation, social emotional dimension, context learning, and assessment. Also provide a framework for developing and incorporating the components of new ideas, designs for schooling. Then principles emphasize the active and reflective nature of learning and learners.
Good day, Coach, and to my fellow classmates. My name is Haven Dayan B. Castro, and my role in this video presentation is to explain about the cognitive and metacognitive factors. Before I proceed to my discussion, earlier my co-group explained about the 14 learner-centered psychological. So now I will continue to my lesson. Cognitive or cognition can simply be defined as all mental processes and abilities in which people engage on a daily basis, such as memory, learning, problem solving, evaluation, reasoning, and decision making. So, based on my understanding about cognitive, it is all about in the mental processes in which it is a daily basis we encountered in life, such as memory, or it is reproducing or recalling what have been learned. Next is learning, knowledge or skill acquired by instruction or study. Next is problem solving. It is something to do in the problem that you will solve. So let's go in the metacognitive or metacognition. It is often defined as thinking about thinking. It allows us to complete a given task as well through planning, monitoring, evaluating, and comprehending. So the metacognitive or metacognition, it is a given task given by the teacher to a learner where they will planning to do something. Monitoring, it is the learner will monitor to their self on what they are doing. Evaluating, it is the act or result on what they are doing too. And last is the comprehending.
Good day, Coach. My name is Rico Joy I. Democrito. My assigned topic is about motivational and social factors. Social motivation is the idea that people in general have a motivation to engage with other people, to interact with other people. Working with other people and spending time with other people is a very important strategy. The topic of social motivation is very important for understanding individual difference in social behavior because each person has their own motivation and their motivation be changing throughout the course of the day, throughout the course of their life.
A social motivational theory of autism must engage suffering that people with autism who we know have difference in many aspect interaction might also have defined in their motivation to engage with other people. They avoid other people, they might not be look other people, and they not learn from other people.
Example between people with autism who may avoid eye contact and people with social anxiety disorder who also avoid seeing other people. They not motivated to engage other people, maybe for some different reasons.
There may be a very different social motivation in adolescent compared to adulthood and at different stages of adulthood.
If we have ways to qualify these kind of things and have an understanding about where they're coming from, then that will give us much better scientific
Wish to
basis.
have known why people make particular decisions and how we can help people who are struggling in social situations from a wide variety when kind of motivational aspect.
Good morning. There's a saying that children do learn what they need, then figure out to it what they have learned. What does my saying means? It means that I'm trying to say, as a children, develop in an environment for relationship, but the actual process of their development depend on the world around her or him. So what I'm trying to tell you this, it is because the code related to our topic. And to finally introduce to you my topic, that are developmental and social factors. Developmental factors, it means the word develop. It means the process or a progress of learning. And social factor means and relate to your society. So what comes to our mind when we hear developmental factors and social developmental factors? It means that developmentals are the elements that can affect the learnings of the children, if it is negative or positive. As an individual development, there are many opportunities and concerns for learning. Developmental factors play an important role of learning, which develop is a process of potentiality and becoming actuality. So for teacher, we need to know what, when, and how to develop students, develop their faculties, encourage your children to make the progress. The greatest the progress in shortest line. So there are 4 factors that can influence the developmental of the child. So first, the individual development. And for example, mental development. For example, reading books, speaking in class, and watching videos informational to improve your skills. And second, community factor. It is influenced by the environment of what environment they grow up, or influenced by the school, home, culture, or friends. Example, community education. To raise awareness in the community regarding to the nature of the problem, possible solutions. So that proceed to the parental involvement. It is influenced by the parents or older than the child. The way they discipline the child, if it is good or a bad. Lastly, developmental differences. Influenced by by developmental stages. So these are the children that influenced by developmental stages, with or without disabilities. If they are a person with disability, LGBT, clumsy, and the other differences. Let's move to social factors. These are influenced by the group of people who influencing one another to culture or subculture. It's either sound, social class, or family. So there are 4 influences that is related to social factor. So the first one is social interactions. Example of social interactions. There are exchange, competition, conflict, cooperation, and accommodation. Quality, personal relationship. Example include companionship, affections, intimacy, attachment, love, friendship, empathy, social respect, solidarity, and trust. Example of family influence. A male child born into a family of 4 older sisters. In this case, the child has defined influence on the family. Over time, transactions occur between child and parents such that each affects the other as positive learning climates. And that's all for my topic.
A pleasant day to everyone. I am Candice Monsañeros from Btvted, Major in Garments, Fashion and Design. Earlier, my co-teammates explained the developmental and social factors and its principles. As we continue, I will be the one to discuss the individual differences, factors, and its principles. So what is individual differences? Individual differences is the largely study of group differences. This studies classifies individual differences by age, traits, sex, race, and class, so on. And it also observes the differences within and between those groups. Physical, mental, social, and cultural differences are being studied under individual differences. So what is individual differences factors? Individual differences factors defined as unique characteristic of individual that have an impact on how they will learn. Now that we have learned the definition of individual differences and individual differences factors, let's tackle the three main factors of individual differences. The three main factors of individual differences are the race, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. The individual differences factors has three principles: the individual differences in learning, the learning and diversity, and the standards and assessment. The individual differences in learning is learners have different strategies, approaches, and capabilities for learning that are function of prior experience and heredity. In learning and diversity, learning is most effective when differences in learners' linguistic, cultural, and social background are taken into account. Standards and assessment is setting appropriately highly and challenging standards and assessing the learners and learning process, including the diagnostic process and outcome assessment, are integral parts of the learning process. The learner-centered psychological principles provides a framework that can contribute for current educational reform and school redesign efforts. That's all for today, and thank you for listening.